Hey, Nathan here. Welcome back to another video from PH Studios. And in this video, I want to discuss the tutorials that are going to be released soon and some information about the website. And finally, how I want to structure the flocking artificial intelligence videos. Alright, so the tutorials that are going to be released soon are the DirectX tutorials. We're going to discuss getting keyboard input, and then we're going to create a keyboard class to handle all that stuff. And then we're going to discuss going full screen, and then how to handle that, since we'll get keyboard input to get rid of the full screen mode and quit the game. And finally, we're going to start our first full series, which will discuss the Space Shooter series. That's the same Space Shooter series from X and A. We're just going to convert that to C++ and DirectX 9. For artificial intelligence, I want to get the flocking AI series done first. People have been wanting me to release that for a while. Then I will discuss creating an AI library. And finally, I'm going to discuss follow the leader. And the C++ tutorials, the only thing we have left on my list is pointers. Now, I'm going to slow down on tutorials a little bit. I want to get my game project done, and or not fully done, because it'll take probably a year or two, but I want to get it started and get good traction going. So I will release tutorials still on a regular basis. It'll just be a little bit slower than normal. I will keep you updated, and whenever I find cool ways to do things like inventory management, I plan on releasing a tutorial on that. How to handle events and how to handle quests and dailies and things like that. I'm going to release all these tutorials on how I develop it and my struggles and what I did to get through all that stuff and what I ended up with. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the website. I'm still working on the new design on the website. And I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit more clean and not so much text, not so much all this information right away. It's just going to be very basic initial page, and then you'll go to the pages that you need to get to. So it's going to be a lot different than what I had originally thought about. It's going to be a lot cleaner and easier to get around. Alright, so I want to talk a little bit about the flocking tutorials and what I want to do with that. So several months ago, I released this flocking concepts where I briefly discuss each of the parts of flocking artificial intelligence. There is cohesion, separation, and alignment. All three of those combined result into flocking. And I'm going to take a different approach, and I'm going to have a leader and follower role. So the leader will determine where the flock goes, and the followers will do all those flocking AI concepts. So the leader, we will apply wandering and obstacle avoidance logic to that element, that entity, and then all the other entities that are following that leader, that we are going to apply the entire flocking artificial intelligence concept to. So this is an 8-minute video on the basic concepts of flocking artificial intelligence. I briefly discussed all three concepts in this video. When I release the flocking artificial intelligence series, I'm going to discuss each individual concepts in depth. I'm going to discuss the algorithm in depth. I'm going to discuss the ways that it handles it. I'm going to discuss the reason that it does what it does. I'm going to do all that stuff in depth. So it'll probably be a lot of work. I'm going to release a same style of video as this for the concept portion. So it's going to be about, I'm thinking about splitting it up. There will be, for those that want to learn the concept portion, can watch this concept video, the cohesion concept video. And then for those that want to see how it's implemented in, let's say, XNA, they'll watch that video. And then I'll also release the pseudocode in both videos, so you don't have to watch the other video or download sample from the other video. Because I know a lot of people have moved away from XNA since Microsoft has not been focusing on that. But I'm still using that as a initial platform for my samples. So this is how it's going to work. It's going to be at least 6 tutorials. There's going to be for example, a cohesion concept video, cohesion implementation video, separation concept video, separation implementation video, an alignment concept video, alignment implementation video, and probably one last video that combines all those, and that will be just called flocking implementation. So I think that it will be beneficial for everybody, especially those that just want to learn the concepts of how flocking artificial intelligence works. They don't want to see how it's implemented, they just want to learn the concepts. That way they don't have to dig through the actual implementation video and get the concept portion from that. So I'll separate those videos out, but they'll all be related. They'll all be combined in some way. Alright, so after the flocking artificial intelligence series is done, we're going to discuss a concept called follow the leader. So imagine you are in a line at a fast food place. Let's say McDonald's. You are waiting in the drive-thru for that. So think about all the cars in the drive-thru as a sort of line. So how do you get into the drive-thru? You have to be at the end of the line. So follow the leader is going to basically look at all the entities that are currently following the leader as a line. So when a new entity comes in, it's going to follow the leader, but it's going to position itself at the very end of the line, and the leader of that entity is going to be the last entity of the current line. So this is just another cool concept where you can have a follow the leader, where it's going to be similar to flocking artificial intelligence, but we're not going to have the sort of separation, cohesion, and alignment all at the same time, interacting with each other. The goal for one single entity will be to respond to one other entity. The goal for flocking artificial intelligence is to have a group of entities interacting with all of each other, and we can extend that by having the leader be responsible for determining where the flock goes. So these are just a few concepts and tutorials that will be coming down the line in the next few weeks. Let me know if you want to see anything else. Of course, any implementation or any cool ideas I come up with in my new game project. If you haven't looked at it yet, there's a topic on here about it. And I released a video on it. Here's a video of it. But it's going to be a full game. It's going to be a pretty big project. It's going to be kind of what my dream project has always been. It's going to have a lot of elements from a lot of different games, and I think it'll be really fun to play, and I hope it will be fun to develop. But such a large game is going to take a while to develop, so some of my tutorial time will have to be taken up by doing this. So any of these concepts, how I'm going to do quests, how am I going to do a leveling, we already did a little bit with the tower defense, but I'll discuss it a little bit more in detail. How do I determine loot? In MMOs you have a loot table and all that kind of thing, and then it determines what loot you get. So I want to think about my own concept and my own, algorithm to determine what loot you get. You can get very, very great gear. You can get a very awesome beam weapon for your spaceship, or a very awesome shield upgrade for your spaceship. And gear, how am I going to determine gear? How am I going to implement swapping gear out with a spaceship? If you're in a big fight that you don't really get good damage when you're using beam weapons, like if you have a group of enemies that have shields. A beam weapon might not be as effective with shields as something with like a large area of effect where it would hurt the entire diameter of the shield. That's what you want to focus on. Get their shields down as fast as you can. You might want to swap out your weapon for that. So how am I going to do that kind of thing? I'll release tutorials on all these concepts. Talent trees, how is that going to affect your damage output? How is that going to affect your health, your hull, your shield, your recharge rate? How are talent trees going to work with your statistics? So all these things I'm going to release pretty much their own tutorials. There's going to be a quest tutorial. There's going to be a leveling tutorial, a loot tutorial. All these things are going to have lots of tutorials. Some might have 4, 5, or 6 tutorials. Like talent trees or inventory management. That's going to take a lot of time to discuss in a tutorial, so I'll probably make it 5 or 6 tutorials to discuss that. And all these will be generalized. Of course, I'm developing an XNA initially, but I will work with the creating pseudocode and work trying to get them to DirectX. But I will try to keep these things generalized, so you don't have to need XNA to understand my concepts. Alright, so last thing is the flocking artificial intelligence videos. I'm hoping to get them all out, all 6 or 7 of them out this week or next week. So let me bring up the calendar here. It is April 6th right now. They should be all 7 of them. Yeah, it's going to be 7 because all 3 concepts will need 2 videos for each concept, so that's 6, and then 1 final video to wrap everything up. So that'll be 7 videos. All 7 of them will be out by the 20th. So I'm going to do a lot of this video overlay thing here. I'm going to spend a lot of time in After Effects doing all this stuff. But they should all be out by the 20th. I'll release all 7 videos at once. That way you don't have to wait any longer for, we got the cohesion video, but let's wait for the separation video and the alignment video before we can continue. No, I want to release them all at once, so that way you don't have to wait for all the other concepts. Alright, let me know any other tutorials you want to see, and let me know what you want me to focus on first on this list. What you would like to see first. Personally, I like the inventory management thing the best. that's the most interesting thing for me to get down right away, is how to manage inventory. Lots of games have horrible inventory. Take Terraria, for example. For those of you that haven't played it, it's kind of like a Minecraft in 2 dimensionals, combined with Castlevania and a few other, the old Metroid games. It's kind of like that, where you have enemies to fight and things like that. That has a pretty horrible... I never liked the inventory system in that game. So my goal is to create an inventory system that is great. Like, you can search your inventory for keywords or just the item name itself. You can sort it. You can group things by, this is equipment. This is, restoration effects. This is quest items area. So way you can group it. I want to do all that stuff, so I might work on creating a tutorial on inventory management. But let me know what you want to see, what you want to see, what your personal opinion is on. I want to know how a loot table would work. I want to know how to provide quests and dailies. Alright, so I hope to see you in a couple weeks for all 7 artificial intelligence videos. They will have pseudocode, but my implementation on the video will be XNA. Because that's just, I can get it done quick, and here's the implementation. Alright, so I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.